Now open Mary, Our Lady of Peace Mausoleum in Flushing, New York. Secure your family's future with 10% down, no taxes, and 0% interest financing for up to 10 years on pre-need crypts and cremation niches starting at just $25 per month. Protect your loved ones with the gift of pre-planning. Visit them today at Mount St. Mary Cemetery. Call 718-353-1560. That's 718-353-1560 or go to ccbklyn.org to learn more. That's ccbklyn.org.
A common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
And now let's go to Victoria Coates, former Deputy National Security Advisor under President Trump. Victoria, what a huge news day. We just had Professor Dershowitz on. He was with, as you heard, with Netanyahu when the news came down. And the Israelis, they have not been able to confirm it yet, but he said it would be highly unlikely that the head of Hezbollah would have survived the strike that Israel took right to the command headquarters there in Beirut. Your reaction?
Oh, I agree strongly with Professor Dershowitz that I mean, this would be pretty easy for Hezbollah to disprove if he wasn't there for whatever reason. Hand the man a newspaper, snap a picture, and put it on the internet that it's false, and take all the wind out of Israel's sails. That's what they would have done had they actually had that option. But it looks like this is getting closer and closer to confirmation. And the thing is, though, Rita, it's not just Nasrallah. It's all of Hezbollah leadership, or apparently in that bunker. And so after what they've been through in the last 3 weeks, it's hard to see them functioning. And the IDF came out today and said Hamas, their partner organization in the south, has been degraded to a kind of a guerrilla force. They can no longer function as a coordinated military. I would say Hezbollah is getting close to that status, too.
You know, Victoria, as we're hearing all of this, I'm thinking of the politics of it all, because we've got President Biden and Kamala Harris who have been talking out of both sides of their mouth. Really no leadership whatsoever, it seems like, on Israel. And yet, in this case, they're just saying we got to go it alone, essentially. And boy, is Israel going it alone. Do you feel they're also up against the clock, too, that they feel like they've got to hurry up and kind of do these moves? Politically, Biden seems MIA. Obviously, if Trump comes in, he will be a friend of Israel, a stalwart one. But it's who knows what Kamala Harris would bring if she were to get elected.
Oh, exactly. And what we heard from them this summer is they would much prefer to delay the action in the north. They would like some more time. They weren't given that. Apparently, Hezbollah was planning Operation Conquer Galilee at an October 7th type attack, which would have been around the anniversary of that horrible day. And they felt they had to move. And so they're doing what they can. Again, agreeing with Professor Dershowitz, it's so shameful. Our UN ambassador was not there today to show ironclad support with the prime minister. That's what we should be hearing out of them. That's what would actually deter the Iranians from an attack, is the belief that the United States is right there in the foxhole with Israel. So you're not just tangling with one, you're tangling with both. And instead we get complaints that they weren't told and sort of bleats that they weren't involved in any way. Please don't hurt us, kind of a thing. And it's just shameful. Yeah,
we sound like wimps. And you know what it reminded me, and he brought it up, that when he said that she wasn't there, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, you've got one of our most important allies, she's not there. It reminded me, obviously, of Kamala Harris with her sorority event, and she couldn't be there when he addressed Congress. I thought it was disgraceful. Governor Patterson.
Well, in a situation like that, and obviously Netanyahu's speech and the fact that it was today, basically the last day, was the culminating event. And if if our government had any problems with Netanyahu saying it, she's the one who's supposed to deliver that message, but she's not even there. So it was really just like hiding and pretending that it wasn't happening when it was.
It was, Governor. It's like when they abstain on these votes in the UN. They're like, oh, we weren't really voting for it, but we weren't really voting against it. And, you know, I'm old enough to remember when President Reagan said, if Israel is forced to leave the United Nations, the United States is going to be following Israel right out the door. And, that is how you send a message to that degraded body, which the prime minister rightly called the Flat Earth Society today, full of delusion and conspiracy theories. And that's how you do it. Not like this, not with doublespeak. And as Rita said, kind of talking out of both sides of their mouth.
What do you think is the reason for the doublespeak?
Well, I think this becomes another political issue. It is becoming increasingly clear they cannot win Pennsylvania without a strong showing from the Jewish vote. They can't win in Michigan without a strong showing from the Arab American vote. And, hey, they can't win the country without a strong showing from the youth vote. And those three things don't really get along right now in terms of this policy. So I think they're trying to please everyone, and they're winding up pleasing no one.
By the way, speaking of Pennsylvania, I want to ask you what you thought of the fact that, President Zelensky of Ukraine goes to Pennsylvania and taxpayer dollars shipped there. And you see Josh Shapiro, who was number 2 choice, should have been number 1 for Kamala Harris, but she picked Looney Tim Walz. But he's signing ammo. And there's a lot of people who are saying, the Speaker of the House is now saying this needs to be investigated, that it looked like a campaign event, more than a political, a world leader coming event at a time of war. What was your reaction? Should that be investigated?
And it was it was extraordinary that Johnson, who was a very even keel guy, asked that the ambassador resign. Exactly.
He asked for her to be recalled. And, this was theater just at its most gross. They put him on, it was C-130 in his fatigues as if he was coming straight from the battlefield. He was coming from New York City. You guys can look out the window from the studio. You don't need fatigues in a C-130 to move around New York, although maybe during the week it's not a bad idea.
These days you kind of do, actually, Victoria. You've been here recently. You know how bad it is.
But in terms of this, the ambassador, she's not a bad person. I know her a little bit, but she has allowed this to become so politicized. She organized this event. She's the one who directs all the army of lobbyists that Ukraine has running around Washington, lobbying Democrats. And I've told her straight point blank, you guys need to go talk to the Republicans as well, because you can't count on just partisan politics to carry the day. If you're serious about this, what she showed is she's not serious. She did a major disservice to President Zelensky, who apparently did a huge amount of backtracking with former President Trump to get that meeting today, as well he should. But that was a massive mistake for them, and I don't think Congress is going to forget it anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Boy, the politics of it all. Victoria, let's pray that Israel did get Nasrallah, and let's pray that things don't get crazier in the Middle East, because, boy, things are a powder keg right now. Thank you so much, Victoria.
Of course. Thank you.